What is going on, guys? It's your boy XQ420. Welcome y'all back. Another episode, Showtime with the Cube. As always, I've got the powerful one with me, the co-host, Corey Hughes. Corey, are you doing well this afternoon?
I'm doing well.
Oh, there he is. Was that a self hug, or
Yes.
was that your G? Or was that a G look?
That's a G look.
Yeah. I mean, we put you right on the album cover, just like Trump. We put you right on the album cover. Is that your mugshot look? They take you to jail. It could be something like that. So, guys, today we are bringing you our first impressions of Ahsoka. Okay, the newest installment in the Star Wars franchise. Now, as far as Ahsoka goes, it seems like that you would have to watch quite a few previous seasons of different shows that they had. So you probably would need to tune into the Clone Wars. You got Star Wars Rebels. She was in The Mandalorian season 2. She was in the Book of Boba Fett. So I mean, if you missed out on any of that, you may not have any clue what's going on right now. So Corey, I want to know how you feel about that right out the gate.
Okay, so let me start off by just saying this. When you look at what this series is, this is the first series that the star of the show is not from the original canon or connected to it really in any way, shape, or form. We do not see Ahsoka until 2008. She did not exist prior to that at all.
Is that Clone Wars? Is that when
Clone
they made the cartoon show Clone Wars?
Yes, that is correct. My first exposure to her was her figure in the Vintage Collection series from the Clone Wars, which I did have. Quite pricey figure these days. So it's a complete break from anything we've seen before, no matter how they try to sell it. Every character we've had, well, except for the Mandalorian, but the Mandalorian to me is a direct connection to the original Star Wars through Boba Fett, right? So,
right.
But this Ahsoka character is really just like they made her up out of thin air, no connection to nothing until 2008, like I said, and she was the apprentice of Anakin. So
yeah, which is weird.
Because
technically you got to call him Padawan.
He was Padawan. He was not a master. He should not have had nobody under him, right? So, to me, this is like, I don't know who was winging it with the storyline, but somebody's winging it with the storyline.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, hold on, he was still technically under Obi-Wan at that time.
Up until the last day, he was pissed he couldn't get on the Jedi Council because he wasn't a master, right? Like, that was the whole thing. And you do not get, if I'm not mistaken, you do not get a Padawan until you are a Jedi Master.
I thought that was the premise as well. I thought that was the whole thing.
Or maybe you can get one when you're a Jedi Knight. But what's the difference? Who the fuck knows? Okay. We're splitting hairs at this point.
Okay, maybe that's so. Maybe that's so. So yeah, they actually, they haven't really talked about it yet as far as bringing up Anakin in this particular series. I'm not sure if they will, because I guess technically, and I did watch a roundup of what you need to know before Ahsoka. I didn't realize, okay, so in Rebels, Ahsoka fights Darth Vader, which she knows is Anakin, and like the building or whatever they're in, it collapses and Darth Vader comes out, and supposedly Ahsoka is presumed dead, but Ezra somehow gets into the gate between worlds or something between worlds, and he pulls Ahsoka out right before the place collapses, and then put her back in the time. I'm like, what the hell's going on? That's a multiversal shit right there, Corey.
So, this series takes place after Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And is it before the events of the new trilogy, or at the same time? Or prior to?
I'll be prior to, yes.
And so her introduction was in Clone Wars. And now we're seeing her again after Return of the Jedi.
Rebels. And after Rebels.
And after Rebels. But the point that I'm making here is that there's a complete void of her
Yeah, a little
for
bit.
like 6 movies, right? Am I wrong here? Like, it's like 6 movies. They don't even mention her when she should have been in the running with everything, right? Because she was Clone Wars was the same time as the prequel trilogy,
Yeah,
or was it
I don't.
after the prequel trilogy? That was after the
Uh,
prequel trilogy.
no. Yeah,
So we got
Clone Wars was during the prequel trilogy. It was during the prequel trilogy. Okay, because you got to think Anakin was fighting throughout that entire time, and he had not turned. So it was prior to Revenge of the Sith. So, but you're right, because we didn't get a mention of Ahsoka in the original trilogy. We didn't get a
correct.
mention of Ahsoka in the prequel trilogy, and we
Correct.
didn't get a mention of Ahsoka in our last trilogy. So it's just like, I
Jesus
mean,
Christ, you are completely correct. We got 9
yeah,
Star Wars movies, no mention of Ahsoka, right?
yeah. As powerful as she seems to be, you know what I'm saying? As powerful
Oh
as she
man,
seems to be,
this is them
no
trying to
mention.
like. This is them just using making up characters to fill in gaps in storylines. Is what this is. I mean, that's what it
That
is.
could be the case. So the
Some
most
people
she
might
has been
forgive them.
used.
Some people might
Yeah.
forgive them in this series because it is,
Hmm.
15 years ago, right? And
Hmm.
so a lot of people just kind of grew up with Ashoka being in part of the lore when she's not. So I think some of the younger generation will forgive that fact, but that's not me. I'm 67 next month, so I'm an old timer.
Talk about you 67. Corey is not 67 next month. He may feel 67, but he's not 67. So yeah, that's a whole lot of movies for not one mention of Ahsoka, and she's presumably alive during all this time. I'm presuming she's alive. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Well, yeah, she didn't die and then
yeah.
come back to life, so yeah, she's out filling in plot holes elsewhere in the galaxy.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it seems. Now, as far as this show goes, okay, there's one thing that I've noticed is that there doesn't seem to be any men that's going to be involved in saving anything. I'm
Well,
just throwing
that's
that out
correct.
there.
I only seen there's only like 2 men in the whole damn thing, and both of them are like traitors. One's a Sith and the other's a traitor, right? So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, um, I'm trying really hard to be open minded to this and watch the show, but this thing is screaming of woke freaking Hollywood. Women can save the day. Let me give you a hint: they can't. And that's how it is. This is going to be more of the same bullshit. This is what's contributing to Disney's demise and their loss of billions of dollars. So, yeah, let's just watch it and enjoy it. Burn Disney to the ground.
Yes. Man said it'd be a complete disaster. Well, I will say this, okay, coming off the heels of The Mandalorian, all right, and I know this isn't saying much, but I did feel like these first 2 episodes at least had a direction, because what they did in The Mandalorian, I don't even know what they were doing. It wasn't about Mando. It was about Bo Katan, and I was like, hold on a second, what am I watching? All right, because each episode just seemed to be all over the place. So they seem to kind of try to at least structure this particular series. How'd you feel about that within the first 2 episodes? At least it felt like it had some structure. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, it definitely has some structure. It unfortunately you can compress all of the noteworthy scenes in the episode to about 5 minutes. But yeah, it had some structure. It had a direction. We can see where the season's going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but which is a far cry from what the Mandalorian season 3 was.
Which is weird
So
because you'd think that the Mandalorian, it was written so poorly. You'd think that that was written during the writer's strike.
yeah,
And
exactly. That's what you would think. Because I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I mean, you sitting there watching that, and you're just like, hold on, what are we supposed to get out of this? Are we supposed to be getting something from this? I mean, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, Moff Gideon's back at the end of it. You're like, could we have gotten the Moff Gideon a little bit sooner? You know what I'm saying? Hey, at least they are naming, the particular person that they're after here, General Thrawn. All right, and he,
yes,
he seems to be elusive. He's very elusive. Um,
yes.
and supposedly he's exiled.
Uh,
Supposedly.
Yes. And so I've pulled up some canon information on Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Okay. We got a little history lesson.
Yeah, a little history. Let me pull this up. We're just going to go right to Wikipedia for this because, and I said this, I think last week or on day 0, but Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is brought up in this series, is going to be the main bad guy. I'm kind of predicting. He was written about by Timothy Zahn in the trilogy that was official canon that was approved by Lucas back in the 80s after Return of the Jedi, and it was called the Heir to the Empire series. So I never read those, but I'm vaguely familiar with some of the highlights in there. But Grand Admiral Thrawn is the main character in that trilogy. So I really wish they'd have pulled from this when they went to make this 7, 8, and 9, because it would have been a much better storyline than what they went with. But here it says, in the 1991 to 1993 Thrawn trilogy, Thrawn returns from the unknown and leads Imperial remnants in a campaign against the New Republic, facing off against classic Star Wars characters Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Lando Calrissian, before seemingly being resurrected in the Hand of Thrawn duology in 1997-1998, with his backstory explored in various other novels, short stories, comics, and video games in the Star Wars expanded universe. In 2014, these stories were rebranded as Star Wars Legends by Lucasfilm and rendered non-canon.
Okay.
So they were canon, and then he uncannoned them. Thrawn re-entered official canon in the 3D animated series Rebels from 2016 to 2018. Then as far as the actual character goes, Thrawn first appeared in the 91 Timothy Zahn novel Heir to the Empire, the first installment of what became known as the first Thrawn trilogy. He is a Grand Admiral in the Imperial Navy and categorically the most brilliant of the Emperor's minions. A member of the alien Chiss species, native language Kanu, Thrawn is described as tall, solidly built humanoid with blue skin and glowing red eyes who wears a white uniform befitting his rank. He has risen in power thanks to his tactical brilliance and cunning, and has been described as one of the most threatening antagonists in the Star Wars universe. So, Thrawn is a badass.
That you never hear about except for in the cartoon.
Right. Or if you happen to read those books from 20... God, what was that's like almost canon. 50 years ago, 45 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Which technically they took out of canon.
Yes, it was canon, and then it became uncanon. Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, Lucasfilm had to give the seal of approval for everything that came out, and that included the comic books, and that included all the novels. And so George Lucas gave the thumbs up and made everything canon until he decides to uncanon something, which is kind of weird.
And do you believe that to be the case if they're trying to move in a different direction with their films? I think that's what I'm kind of connecting the dots with.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're doing, because obviously they can't be bringing back these original characters, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo. They can't do that, and Thrawn. So they're kind of twisting, they're plucking something good from it, and hopefully they're going to turn this into something good, but it's not gonna. It's going to be total crap, because I have no confidence in Disney or Star Wars or life in general, and so we'll see.
Okay, so as we said, this particular series, I don't think we're actually going to see Thrawn that much. I think we might see him the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, he'll be like Jaws.
Yeah, the last.
You'll hear his music before you see him.
See, you never see Jaws, you just hear the music. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, this is going to be a season of cat and mouse. Ahsoka is going to be chasing our antagonists, which one of them was a former Jedi who actually, they say, got missing during the Clone Wars. This is actually brought up in one of the episodes, and his name is Baylan Skoll. Have you ever heard of him? Baylan Skoll.
I have not.
I've not heard of him either. But in real life, his name's Ray Stevenson. And I didn't hell, after he recorded this stuff, he died.
He
So he's
did.
dead in real life. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
dead in real life. I was like,
This
damn.
was so bad it killed him. No, Ray Stevenson, I like that guy a lot. A lot. He's one of the million actors who you've seen in a million things and never heard his name ever, right? So,
right.
No, he's been a badass in so many things, and I can't even name one as I sit here. But I've seen him in all kinds of stuff. So, yeah,
There we go. So,
it's a shame.
so technically, he's not Sith. All right, because they have the orange lightsabers, and he has an apprentice. So, what are they? The orange sabers.
Well, let's put the orange saber aside. I think that's going to be a non-issue here. I think when you read through the lore on how the Sith recruited, you will find that they, not frequently, but they would come across Force users. And if I'm not mistaken, if they weren't good enough for Vader to take him on as an apprentice, he would just kill him. But I'm pretty confident that it is in the known Star Wars universe, there are Force users who aren't really trained or know what the fuck is going on and know how to do some stuff. It appears as though
the blind guy that was in Rogue One.
Right. That's a decent example, right?
Yeah.
But this character in particular, having been under the Emperor, probably has some tutelage, and I bet hidden in the lore somewhere he'll have a Sith master.
Yeah, but do we know? I don't even know if he was actually under the tutelage under the Emperor.
Well, he has to be. I'm assuming what he's doing right now is under. Because remember, the Emperor's still around. They just don't know it yet. But
right, he's the
right?
clone of him. Yeah.
Right. So he's still around, and this is a Force user working against the New Republic. We don't know anything about the status of the New Order, right? Isn't that what they were called?
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know anything about their status.
The First Order. The First Order.
Can we say like what's going on with them at this point? Do we know anything? Can we deduce a timeline here and wedge some information?
Not really, because they're still calling them Imperial, which I don't know if they. I can't remember if in the newest trilogy they called them Imperials in there.
So we got to remember that Rey, that universe is 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, that's true.
This appears to be, I'd say, within a couple of years.
5 years.
Within 5. Yeah, I'd say total perfect, like 2 to 5. So it's way before any of that other stuff, which means that Rey has yet to be born. Which is is she actually born, or is she a clone? Is she made?
I think no, she's born.
She is born.
Yeah. I think.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to check on this one. Okay, because I'm kind of leaning towards she was made because she's from the Emperor, right? She's from the Emperor's lineage. But none of that's relevant because that's at minimum 25 years, 20 to 25 years after where we're at today with this show. So, okay, at least we got the timeline worked out. What other show happened post Return of the Jedi? Did Boba Fett? Boba Fett did, because he got out of the fucking he got out of the Sarlacc pit.
Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, Rebels,
and so there's some overlap with Ahsoka in general. So that has to be going on at the same time, give or take. Yeah. So that's the timeline that we're dealing with.
Now, let me see. Hold on, that's right. Hold on, let me see something. You can keep going. I'm trying to find if Rey was born. Yeah.
The point being that Ray Stevenson's character, I would assume, has to be under some kind of tutelage or training, and that has to ultimately be under the Emperor, unless he's one of these guys just winging it, which it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. But we don't know exactly who he's working with, but what we do know is that he met up with these women, these witches. What do we know about these witches?
The witches. Well, this is the same witch that was this particular witch that they broke free is the same one that was in season 2 of The Mandalorian, which is where we saw Ahsoka briefly in that particular series. So I don't know a ton about these witches. I ain't gonna lie to you, and just I don't know. Bringing her back.
What were they called again?
She kind of seems. Was it Daughters of Dathomir? Is that right? Is it Dathomir? I believe.
Oh, here we go. I got it. It's the Night Sisters, also known as the Witches of Dathomir or Daughters of Dathomir.
Okay. Yeah.
They were a clan and ancient order of magic-wielding women, most of whom were Dathomirians who lived on Dathomir, a planet bathed in dark energies. These dark side users were able to perform their arcane magics by tapping into the magical ichor that flowed from the depths of their planet. So they're magic users, but it seems like their magic is limited to their planet.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be far stretching as far as their magic.
It says, downfall and collapse. Ventress, who was the head of the order, later returned to her people after being betrayed by Count Dooku, seeking their help for revenge against her former master. So Dooku was way before this.
Oh, yeah.
Survival and adapting. Following the end of the Clone Wars, the Night Sisters' massacre at the hands of Grievous and Dooku became known, with very few Night Sisters remaining. Like Merrin. However, the Night Brothers weren't wiped out. Merrin would take them as her servants, and they took control of Dathomir during the Age of the Galactic Empire. Doesn't really have any information on what happened to them afterwards.
Right. Well, it looks like the majority of them have been wiped out.
Right. Most of them got wiped out.
Kind of almost like the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
This is like mass genocide every single time, right? I mean, hell, wasn't it? It was on. What was it on the? Was it on the Force Awakens where the First Order fired their cannon and blew up a whole planet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, it's just like these mass massacres all the time. Mandalorians get their ass kicked. Daughters of Dathomir get their ass kicked. It's just like, damn, I mean, you get your whole family wiped out, cuz y'all need to do better. I mean,
man, why these movies always got to go with the genocide and the big scale stuff? Why can't it be small scale? Like the Chinese dude who just poisoned his neighbor. Like, why can't they do a movie about something like that, right? Like, it doesn't involve the whole world.
I mean, let's make this a little bit more localized. You know what I'm saying? This is just too wide scale. Hey, I've got some information on Rey. Okay, so here's how Rey was conceived. Okay, so her father is Dathan, who was bioengineered strand-cast clone from the genetic template of Darth Sidious. Okay, but the clone actually had a wife, Miramir. Okay. So they actually physically had did the deed.
Miramir sounds like she's on loan from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it does a little bit. But yeah, so Rey's father is a clone of Darth Sidious. It's just fucked up, man. It's weird how the whole. It's like, okay, we're done with the Skywalker saga. I said, man, it turned into the Palpatine saga. I mean, it just threw the Skywalkers to the wayside. You know what I'm saying? I know she took the damn name at the end. Oh, I'm Rey Skywalker. But miss me with that shit. It was the Palpatine saga, okay? Because, I mean, this dude, he was wiping everybody out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just piece by piece. But let's jump back into Ahsoka. So, of course, we've got to find the magical map, all right? That's what we do. We find the magical map. So she finds it. Now, I want to get your impression on how you believe the fights have been so far in this particular series. We've seen plenty of lightsaber action.
Yeah. So no good. Bland. Bland. I mean, like mashed potatoes with no salt. Bland. You know what I mean?
No salt, no pepper, no butter. It's just taters. That's it. We got anything else? So you haven't been feeling it.
How'd you feel? No. Okay. Well, hang on a second. We have to talk about we've only really had a couple fights, and the main fight that we have, and it seems like the other female
Sabine.
you're right, Sabine Wren is the other female protagonist of the show.
Yeah.
And of course she's a rebel because women got to be rebels. And
she's a Mandalorian too.
Right. So they don't put they mention it once. They put zero emphasis on it in this show. But let's do a little history on Sabine Wren. It says Sabine Wren was a human female Mandalorian warrior and revolutionary during the Galactic Civil War and Galactic Empire. Her artistry during the rebellion inspired the symbol of the Alliance to restore the Republic and her claim over the ancient Mandalorian weapon known as the Darksaber made her a primary symbol to Clan Wren and the hopes of freeing her people's homeworld of Mandalore from the rule of the Empire. So, at one time, when the Empire was still around, she was in control of the Darksaber.
I'm pretty sure she gave it to Bo-Katan.
Did she give it to Bo-Katan?
I believe so.
No, because Bo-Katan never had it because it ended up going to the Mandalorian. And remember, she got all butthurt because, it wasn't taken in combat or whatever nonsense that she was feeling all butthurt about. And so then eventually, she gets saved by the fucking creature in the cave. And then since she was the badass who saved him, he gave her the saber and said, you earned it in combat. Like that Rube Goldberg of a fucking excuse for giving her the saber.
Hey, Corey, here's one of those things I was telling you about. This happened in Rebels. Bo-Katan had the Darksaber. In Rebels season 4, Sabine Wren handed over the Darksaber to Bo-Katan.
Okay. So
in front of a large audience.
So we have contradictions already in their story.
I mean, she just handed it to her.
Right, but so did the Mandalorian.
Yeah, and then they were like pissed about that.
Right, so so twice she's had it just handed to her. But what I'm saying is that they're contradicting themselves because both can't be true. Or are both true.
Okay.
Has she been given the saber twice?
Yes.
And that's official story.
Because
I thought that a reaction she had when she found out the Mandalorian had the saber was, how'd you get that? And like it was shocking, like she hadn't seen it since Mandalore fell. Was the impression that I got.
Yeah, it was great. She was in Rebels too.
Well,
she was actually in control of it in Rebels, but she gave it up to Moff Gideon when they were wiping out everybody, so he wouldn't kill the rest of her people. The Night of 1,000 Tears. You know what I'm saying?
That's the official. That's canon at this point. Yeah. That's lame, but okay.
Yeah. So it just seems like the folks just be handing that thing over for it to just get crushed at the end of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Just like one easy, like just snap it like a twig. I was like, hold on, man. We've been making a whole bunch of noise about this thing, and you gonna break it? I mean, come on, man. I'm just like, this stuff doesn't make any sense. But hey, that's once again, if you haven't been fully enthralled in everything that's came out, but you be missing some shit. You be like, hold on a second, she already had it before, and I'm missing something. So that's kind of one of those things, you know what I'm saying? As a particular series goes along, sometimes you can get lost in the sauce. Let's just say that. You'll be sitting there and you'll be like, I don't know what the hell's going on, because the animated and cartoon stuff, man, they can make a shit ton of episodes for that, fairly quickly. So, if you've got 20 or 30 episodes in a season and you done missed all that shit, but hell, you don't know what the hell's going on, which could throw people off when they initially watch this. But I've got a comment on one of the beefs I've had with this, the first 2 episodes, is that there's been a whole lot of just slowly walking around, not saying anything. Like they're just filling in the gaps. Like Ahsoka just be walking around looking. Then Sabine Wren, she walks around and she's looking. And then they come up and they just look at each other for a while. I'm just like, I mean, can I get some dialogue in between this? I'm like, it's like they were trying to fill in the gaps. You know what I'm saying? I guess they were trying to bring tension. Is that what it is?
I guess.
Tension.
Yeah.
Because Sabine Wren is a former Padawan of Ahsoka, and that was during Rebels, which Ezra was technically a Jedi, which is just like.
Hang on a second. So let's just go over the chain here, okay? So
Yeah.
we've got Obi-Wan to Anakin to Ahsoka
To
to
Sabine.
Sabine, and they're all Padawans. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
No wonder the Jedi's fell, man. Seriously, they got a bunch of diversity hires in there. That's the fuck it is.
Man said they got a bunch of diversity hires. That's what it looks like to me. But when I was sitting there, I was like, hold on, when she's a Padawan, but she's Mandalorian, which they kind of were trying to make it like a big deal that, Grogu was going to be like, the first Mandalorian Jedi. That's kind of the whole thing. And it was just like, well, no, you got Sabine Wren. It's just like, who? Who's Sabine Wren again? Am I supposed to know who that is? Yeah, so she goes through her transformation. Of course, she was pissed at Ahsoka. Ahsoka left her. She said she wasn't ready. Ahsoka's kind of a loner. And so Sabine's a little mad at Ahsoka. And we see that throughout the first episode. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, Sabine figuring out the map was, like, uninspiring. Like, she just, like, turned it, like, 3 times.
Mhm.
I was just like, that was it? I mean, I thought they were going to have to do something, like a Rubik's Cube. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But she just went, don't. Hey, there it is. I'm just like, that's it. Could nobody else figure this out?
If you haven't noticed, like, the people behind these series aren't really good at establishing conflict that needs to be overcome and then having a resolution to that conflict. They're just not good at it at all. Not even on a small scale, even with the stupid little thing.
Yes. The MacGuffin.
The MacGuffin, right.
The little MacGuffin. Now, we do have a third female protagonist who seems to be popping up, and that's Hera. That's the one with the green lady. And she just kind of seems to be just like a liaison between Ahsoka and Sabine Wren. It doesn't seem like she's going to be really doing much. She just seems to be like, hey, y'all need to get back together. She seems like a matchmaker, even though she was a big part of the Star Wars Rebels. So, what do you think? Of course, they said Hera's a general, but she's not a great general because she didn't even know that they were still fucking making parts for the Imperial fleet at the damn shipyard. I mean, it's just like, what have you been doing?
Right. So, are we on to episode 2 yet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
okay.
Yeah.
So episode 2.
Well, let's just say one thing about episode 1. We did see a lightsaber duel at the end, and it was Baylan Skoll's apprentice Sheen Hattie fought Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren is a little rusty with the lightsaber.
Yes.
Very uninspiring fight. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I thought lightsabers was the most devastating weapon on the planet, but now in the past, in 2 series, Obi-Wan and this one, we have seen 3 people get stabbed in the gut and not die.
Right.
But Qui-Gon Jinn got stabbed one time and he was dead.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what the deal is.
Exactamundo.
I mean,
they could have. Okay, she got stabbed right through the goddamn abdomen, like, and then when she fell and she had the mark on her back, I'm like, that's right over her damn kidney and her liver and her spleen, and like, they're just gonna say it got cauterized. That's what they're gonna do. It was cauterized. What is she? She's no, she's not. She's a human. She ain't nothing special, right? So
yeah,
she should die. I was thinking she was the green chick who's a Twi'lek, but no. So yeah, it's ridiculous. They could have just cut her on the side or something. They didn't have to go all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, they just tip their hand at how stupid they are when they do shit like this.
Yeah, but the Inquisitor in Obi-Wan, he got stabbed through the gut and he lived. The black girl got stabbed through the gut twice. I think she got stabbed through the gut when she was a little kid. It's just like, man, these lightsabers ain't no good, y'all got. Okay, y'all because I would figure, even though it cauterizes the wound, I would think that it would leave.
Well, you still need your kidney and your liver. Yeah,
it would render it useless.
useless.
So,
No, the only
without
people in the galaxy who should be able to withstand a lightsaber stab are Klingons because they have a redundant set of organs. So, but that's a different universe.
man said clean odds. All right. So yeah, so we had I had to throw that in there, with the uninspiring duel.
It was very uninspired.
Oh,
I was just watching it and I'm like, they hit the sabers together like 3 times. They didn't even make the sound and the lights go sparking crazy. It was like not a big deal at all. And I gotta say, little blondie wannabe Sith chick is she's cute and all. I like the haircut and all that, but she looks about as goddamn fucking boring as it comes. Like she's Sith. Give her like a nose piercing or something. Like God,
give her a tattoo.
give her
tattoo
something,
on the face.
dude. Something, right? It's just she ain't cutting it for me. She's gonna flip to the good side because I can see it all. I can see it already.
You think so?
Yeah.
And then Ray's gonna have to put her down.
Something like that.
Oh, Balin Skull gonna have to chop her in half. You know what I'm saying?
She's very not. I'm not afraid of her.
Well,
Not at all.
even we figured out even like chopping him in half doesn't even work because Obi-Wan chopped Darth Maul in half and he came back in Rebels with some spider legs. How's Qui-Gon dead again? I mean, figure out. I was like, but you got to cut the head off. Okay, that's just what you got to do. This is like Highlander. Okay, they can only be one. That's the only way to do it now. All right, so we'll jump into episode 2. Okay, of course, the quote unquote bad guys made away with the map, which nobody really knows how to read, like at all. It's just, oh man, that's in a galaxy far, far away. I'm just like, okay. I mean, I'm saying it's just like, it's like, well, ain't we already in a galaxy far, far away? Yeah, we're going to have to go further now. You know what I'm saying? In this hyperspace, I'm just like, all right, guys, we get it. We're in one of these far off galaxies, and supposedly we're going to be able to find Admiral Thrawn, which I guess it's going to give us an explanation because Sabine Wren and Ahsoka has told Sabine that maybe Ezra is there as well, which I'm like, well, why wouldn't that be the case? Wouldn't Ezra and Thrawn would have been fighting this whole time, and one of them should have perished by now? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. What do you think about that, Corey?
I don't know. Repeat your question.
Okay, so Ahsoka tells Sabine that maybe Ezra's out there because supposedly Ezra helped exile Thrawn at the end of it. See, I haven't watched Rebels. So they're like, hey, maybe Ezra's out there as well. They don't have 100% confirmation that Thrawn is out there, but they're like, hey, Ezra could be out there as well. And it's just like, wouldn't they have been fighting this whole time? I mean,
I'm not even familiar with Ezra as a character because this is from Clone Wars, right?
No, this is from Rebels.
I didn't see Rebels. I didn't see Rebels.
Yeah.
So I don't like the fact that they're forcing me to know stuff from series I didn't see.
Yeah, he's a Jedi.
And did he die or go off and ever blue yonder, or what's his deal?
Yeah. So, and I think the other, godly, I gotta remember the other guy's name who was, because technically he was a Padawan of Kanan, if I'm correct. If I'm correct, that guy's name who actually died in the Rebel show. But then Ezra helped exile General Thrawn, and they said that Ezra sacrificed himself. So I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, then wouldn't they be like in conflict at that point in time? So somebody would have had to perish, okay, by this point in time. If we're talking about 2 to 5 years later, I mean, if they got exiled to the same planet, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like, and we're fighting. So I mean, something had to happen. Something had to happen here. So that's actually leading Sabine to want to be a part of this particular convoy when Ahsoka's whole thing is just going to find Admiral Thrawn and kill him. All right, so that's the whole premise there. Now, Balin Skull actually talks about his motivation, and it just seems to be power. I'm just like, is that it? It's just like power.
This is where the old back in the 70s and 80s that was cool. We could get that even the 90s.
Yeah.
But like, man, this is power. It's like
you're just like
it's like the drug lord on the block who's like, I gotta have every drug, I gotta have every corner in the city.
yeah,
really, you do? You gotta have all of them?
But why?
Why? Right. See, all of these. That's the thing. Like when you start to dig into the plots, and particularly around the storylines of most antagonists, that ends up becoming the big question: why? And then you get into these existential questions and the meaning of life and all that shit. So yeah.
Ooh, the meaning of life. Yeah, so I mean, it's garnering power. So he's helping. Golly, what was her name? Morgan Elsbeth, which is one of the witches. And I got a feeling that at any point in time they could probably easily dispatch of this said witch. I mean, she did fight Ahsoka when she had the spear. If I'm correct, it was made out of was it Beskar or whatever? Isn't that what they call their armor? Is that right? You muted, Corey. You muted.
Yeah, something like that. You're pretty close. Beskar sounds close enough. Whatever it is.
Yeah. So, but it seems like they could dispatch of her pretty easily, and I got a feeling that they're going to. Morgan Elsbeth the witch. I give her 3 more episodes. She'll be dead.
Well, the character itself seems kind of irrelevant. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just the whole fact that she was in The Mandalorian. Which here's once again, if you didn't watch any of The Mandalorian, you'd be like, "Who the hell's this chick?" You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't even know who she is. So yeah, you've got those ties right there, and of course they take the map to this location, this rock, and she like speaks to it. It just brings up this tapestry of a light show, and I'm just like, okay, what are we looking at? I mean, folks, it's like, oh, he's there. I'm just like, but how do you know though? I mean, I'd hate to get all the way out there and that nigga not be there. Okay, so, I mean, because it don't seem like it's right up the street. That's all I'm saying. Y'all went through a whole lot of work to get way out there and the man not be there. You'd be like, well, yeah, but here's the real question.
But we know he's going to be there because we got like 6 episodes to go or something, so he has to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the real question. Since he's been there, what has he been doing?
You know, Sith stuff.
Yeah. Evil stuff. He's been out there doing evil shit. I mean, that's what he's been doing. He's been doing evil shit. I mean, isn't that what you do?
That was, it's funny.
You do evil shit.
It's funny you say that because, like, I play a lot of video games, and when you play in a video game, your little character will get into an area, and then you got this bad guy, and he's just like hanging out there. And I always wonder, what the fuck are they doing? They're just sitting around all day waiting for me to come in and try to shoot them? Like, is that the deal?
Yeah, that's it right there. So in this episode 2, this is where they actually go to the shipyard because conveniently, one of the assassin droids decided not to leave, decided to stay hidden in Sabine Wren's house. I mean, I was like, to come with the ambush, and somebody, I can't remember who I was watching, but somebody made a comment. It's like, it said, yeah, the assassin droids went to Sabine Wren's hideout in episode 1, not to kill her, which they could have done, or crush her, but to fill up on her. Because the one bot just grabbed her, just holding on to her. It's just like, I was like, man, just trying to fill up on her, buddy, and he trying to hurt her. So I thought that was pretty funny right there. But the assassin android was there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he cut the head off, and of course now it's got where it was made at. So they go to this Imperial yard, which is supposedly just for the New Republic now. But of course, as you're going through, he's like, "Oh yeah, there's Imperial people here," and it's like, "Huh, okay." It's like, "Yeah, man, I wouldn't worry about it though. Whoever pays them, it's all good." I'm just like, ain't nobody checking into this. in this, like, what is it? When they went into the Promised Land, and he said, "Look, man, you got to kill all of them." I mean, isn't it like that? It's like, look, man, you can't have them. you can't have it lingering around, bud. You got to take out all of them. And the folks look sketchy in there the whole time, and the droid is the one that messed them up. They were
Yeah, like
like,
looking at each
"Oh,
other, like all weird and like.
yeah." I'm like, is this not obvious? I mean, and the droid is what messed it up. It's like, hey, have you? As one of these droids came here, and it's like, oh yeah, one of them came by and it stopped me from putting it in the log. It's like, damn, Bo. Yeah, I mean, y'all didn't think somebody was going to check on this? I guess they didn't have any reason to because nobody ever came and checked before. And the whole time they've been making fucking parts for Death Star number 2 or 3. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, one
And
thing that was
shipping them
interesting was
off.
that there was a part that was way too big that they were
Yeah,
manufacturing.
hyperdrive. I think
Hyperdrive
hyperdrive.
was too big for what they
Hmm.
were supposed to be making. So like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then all hell broke
Yeah.
loose.
Yeah. Hey, and now, hey, this is fight number 2. Okay, fight number 2. Assassin droid, Ahsoka, and then unnamed, unknown lightsaber carrier. Now, this one had the red saber. Okay, some people are thinking maybe Star Killer. What do you think?
Star Killer, really?
Either that,
That
or
would be.
or maybe Ezra. Maybe Ezra turned to the dark side.
Let's erase Ezra from our minds for now. I'm not feeling that
Okay.
whatsoever. Star Killer. Would they really bring Star Killer? Because here's the thing: Star Killer was a Vader apprentice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So was Star Killer the same race as Thrawn? I think he might have been. I think he might have been. So let me see.
I don't know. I know this says Star Killer was a clone, if I'm correct. But then they said it wasn't part of canon, though. But I guess at any point in time they can make it part of
Yeah,
canon.
it seems like canon don't mean nothing anymore.
Yeah. So we've got this particular gentleman, and he's shrouded in mystery, but he does have the red saber as opposed to Balin
Oh,
and
he's just a
Shin
human.
having the orange ones. Okay, all right. So Balin and Shin have the orange sabers, but this one has the red lightsaber. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see who was underneath this particular hood. But what did you think about that particular fight? Did that tickle your fancy?
No. It was over pretty quick. It was nothing special, and of course, we got the outcome we knew we were going to get. So I just haven't been impressed by any of it yet.
Of course, I just man, it just hadn't hit the spot yet. Hadn't hit the spot. Do you think that they need to maybe they need to get the people who did the uh prequel trilogy to come and do some of their choreography? Because I mean, if you want to talk about like some of the best lightsaber duels, I mean, the prequel trilogy had it.
The prequel trilogy has some
You know
good
what I'm saying?
stuff. Oh God, what I'm afraid of is that this new Star Wars stuff is so bad. We're gonna look at the prequel trilogy like it was actually good, because we're having some our memories are being altered by time because they
Man,
were
it's good
bad.
enough.
Because they're
I mean, it's good enough,
good
man.
enough. God, it sucks that it took them putting out a horrible trilogy for the prequel trilogy to become acceptable. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Hey, well, look. Hey, look. Here's what I will say though: the choreography of the lightsaber fights, which people wanted lightsaber fights, was top fucking notch, man.
yes, I'll agree with you there.
I mean, it was top notch. I mean, it didn't get no more wilder than when damn Anakin and Obi-Wan are damn sitting there and they're just going at it, dude. I mean, I mean that shit is like you're like, dude, this is crazy. That's like John Wick before John Wick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the with the amount of choreography they had going on there. So maybe they need to get the people who's doing the choreography for John Wick to come in here and do something with the lightsaber.
Well, see,
doors.
ultimately, I think these the problem is that these are just thrown together and they're half-assed, and I don't know what the budgets are on these things that they're spending, but they're not putting top dollar talent into it on any level, in the choreography, in the stunts, nothing.
Yeah, and you got to think
Hell,
like,
I was
oh,
even disappointed in some of the CGI when the very first opening shot, when you come up to the opening shot, it was like a spacecraft in the dock, and it looked about as real as the 1977 Star Wars. You know, I mean, it was just poor. So they're going like B team across the board for this. So I'm not anticipating them bringing anything involved that would improve it whatsoever.
and that's sad.
It
You know
is
what I'm
sad.
saying?
It is sad. I just don't understand the purpose of this show. We have obviously we have a plot, but unless this is gonna, hang on a second. I'm having the Ouija
Okay,
board is
okay,
talking to me.
okay.
So this is taking place at a time after Return of the Jedi. We've concluded about 20 to 25 years prior to the next trilogy. So could this be something going on, filling in some blanks involving Thrawn that could connect to us to the next trilogy? Because we already know they're making the next trilogy, right? They're making 10, 11, and 12 about Rey.
Right.
So stupid. So unless they're doing some stuff to bridge the gap with Thrawn to that trilogy, which wouldn't make sense because then you'd have to explain why Thrawn was gone for another 25 fucking years. That's so stupid, they might just do it.
Miss it might just go ahead and do that. Okay. So, well, I'm guessing could this lead us up to them? Well,
we got 25 years to kill. This ain't leading us to nowhere. This is not going to stretch out. They have 25 years to fill in. So this won't cover more than a year or two at all, tops, if they even that long. It might be a short term 6 months. Who knows? It might be a matter of weeks. We don't even know what the scope of the series will be. But
yeah, because Luke hasn't even restored the Jedi Order because he tried to do that.
Right.
And then Kylo ends up coming and killing all the kids and stuff and all that with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, so basically what I'm thinking is this series isn't gonna be able to lead anywhere because of the time frame, and having Grand Admiral Thrawn in it is a big heavy hitter of a character that they're gonna waste on these sideshows.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what it feels like.
Well, there it is, guys. There it is. Hey, look, what's key in this particular episode is that they managed to put a tracker on the hyperdrive ship that was getting away. So,
well, I remember something happened. There was a battle in this episode somewhere because I remember I was starting to fall asleep, and then all of a sudden something exciting happened, and I opened my eyes, and so. But now I can't remember what it was. So.
guys, this is what I got to deal with, okay? This is stuff I got to deal with. I said, oh shit, is something happening? You know what I'm saying? I will give it to you, man. There's a lot of moments where it's just like, I'm fine with dialogue, but damn, but it's got to be good. There's a lot of times when folks are just staring at each other and they say like one word.
And honestly, I'm not feeling this is Rosario Dawson as Ashoka, right? And I'm just not feeling it, which is a shame because I've been feeling her like her whole career, but like I ain't feeling her in this. Like her acting is no good. So that's another thing we never talk about. The acting is just poor. Like it's just poor acting, and that's something we never discuss on any show ever we review. That the acting is just bad. These motherfuckers they found like on Skid Row or something.
Well, we tried to say that the writing was so bad that you can't even act this out properly.
You know what else annoyed the shit out of me?
What's that?
Why is the Mandalorian chick got 3 different tones in her hair? It's like red, blue, and orange or some. Did she dye that, or is that like
Did
natural?
That get you? Oh, purple, and yellow, and yeah, I don't know, and I'm not exactly sure why she cut her hair back short. I guess she was going back to her old ways. I guess that's what that meant. She needed short hair now, so she cut it off, dyke like. I guess that was the whole premise there. Then she grabbed her Beskar armor, and put it on and said, "I'm ready." And Ahsoka's like, "Yeah, she's definitely ready now." I'm like, Man, it's the same chick that just got stabbed in the gut a few minutes ago. Man, she ready now. Just like, oh yeah, she's dead. She's serious now. She's ready for her training. I'm like, look, I don't think there's a whole lot of time to train right now because y'all about to go. Y'all about to go fight some folks over the MacGuffin and Thrawn.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're gonna run into when you get out there. I mean, so it's just like they're just running out there head first. So we're gonna see how this pans out. We got episode 3 coming out this week. It doesn't look like they're gonna be dropping multiple episodes at a time at any other point in time during this. So we got episode 3 coming out this week, which will be coming for y'all next week because Corey is going to be doing a whole lot of podcasting and at a fish concert for multiple days.
Yeah, 4.
Fish concert for 4 days. So we hope that he stays well hydrated and at least tries to eat something during that time. So we'll be bringing this to y'all next week. Corey, what do you be gone up until Monday?
Yeah, I'll be back Monday.
Tuesday? Okay. So we'll try to bring episode 3 to y'all next Tuesday. Okay, before it rolls over into episode 4. So it'd be kind of interesting to see where they go in episode 3. I got a feeling that we're going to be on a spaceship.
I think we're gonna get some action. We're gonna get some real action next time. More than we got.
We're gonna get some real action.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get some real action. Do we think we could see I wanted to say this before we close out. Do you think we could see a cameo of Boba Fett or the Mandalorian in this?
These motherfuckers are opportunistic, so you can't rule it out. But I don't see a proper placement here. So who knows?
We do have somebody from Mandalore though. Maybe she could send out the war cry. Maybe even no. You know what? We won't see Mando, but I know who we could possibly see. Oh, Bo-Katan Creed.
Ah, yes, we could. I can. Yes, she'll come to join the all-female band.
Yep, there it is. Because this seems like no males allowed in this one, unless you're a bad guy, unless you're white and a male, and the bad guy. that's the only ones to be here. So, we want to know your thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. What do y'all think about it so far? Have you enjoyed it? Does it feel like it's got direction for you? We want to know your thoughts on this. So, from your boy XQ420, the co-host Corey Hughes, we'll catch y'all on the next Showtime with the Cube. Peace out.